My boss said to me one day, Rob, he goes, I think you drink too much. And I was like, no, that's not why I'm sad. Like, I was just not in a good place. I was lonely.
Yeah.
I was away from home. I hadn't made any friends out there. I was working 9 to 5, working from home or in his office, just being him. So I didn't have any community.
What's up, guys? Lift and Love. Lift and Love here, Lift.
Where did you pull this question from?
Why is that? Lift Love, crochet, we out. What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Lifting Love podcast. You are awesome. Today's episode is brought to you by Lake Hickory Pub and Marina, where lake and life meet. If you haven't checked them out, make sure you go check them out. Put the address here, links in the description. Go check them out. They've been gracious enough to allow us to film here. So thank you, Dan, and everybody at Lake Hickory Pub and Marina. But that's enough about me. That's enough about Lifting Love. Today's guest is a local influencer. I love that. Local influencer, mom, community leader, business owner extraordinaire. It's April Tyner. Did I say that right?
Yes, you did.
Let's go.
Hello.
Thank you so much for joining us on the Lifting Love
Thanks for
podcast.
having me. I'm very excited to be here.
So it was funny you tell me the story about how I reached out to you, and just before you were like, man, I really want to be on the podcast. So never been on a podcast before?
Never. I wanted to, and so I think I manifested that. I always thought it'd be fun to do voiceovers, so this is, I feel like maybe leading into that. But yeah. I love to talk, so I think that's how another reason why I got chosen for this. So
If there's one thing that is a great reason to have a podcast or be on the podcast, is that you like to talk, coming from personal experience. Let's start out straight from the beginning. Who are you and what do you do?
So I'm April Tyner. I'm originally from the area. I grew up in Bethlehem since I was 2 years old. After college, after high school, I went to UNC Charlotte for a little bit. Decided what I did not want to do. Usually, I guess you go to college and decide what you want to do. I decided I did not want to be a nurse. It was not for me.
Wow.
Blood and all that stuff, just emergencies, trauma. It was a lot. So I had already been bartending through college, and so I was like, I can kind of make up my own schedule with this.
Yeah.
Like I can I can get a trip 3 months from now for like a week, take off, save money, go on the trip. So that's kind of how I lived my life from like age 22 to 28-ish. I bartended. I was in that lifestyle, drinking, going out, partying, all that good stuff. And then Charlotte wasn't enough for me anymore, and I decided I wanted bigger, better, onto greater things. So I had moved home from Charlotte with my parents for a year. So I was 28 at the time, and I lived in their little guest house, and I worked at a local brewery, and I worked my butt off. I saved money. I had a goal of what I wanted to save. I'm pretty sure I saved all my $5 bills. Like that was my cash. Is how I think I never spent $5 for like a whole year.
We're gonna listen. You need to do something. It better not be less than $5.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I was like, I'm gonna move to California. Like that's what I'm gonna do. And before I go to California, I'm gonna go on a backpacking trip for 2 months by myself, minimum. And I'm gonna go to Korea because I have a friend teaching English there, and why not? You know.
So random question before we get to Korea. Why just California? Did it just like pop into your mind?
It just seemed like I had 2 friends out there from college that were really loving it, and I just wanted something new.
So it wasn't just like it randomly was just like, California. You knew people out there, like you've seen that they're enjoying their time.
Yeah.
And you're like, let's give it a shot.
Yeah. So that friend was in Northern California. So I actually didn't have any idea of where I was going to actually live after my 2-month trip. So while driving cross country, a friend of a friend said that they had a friend of a friend's cousin something.
Hold on. This sounds like every murder documentary ever.
So they were like, oh, yeah, this girl's renting out subleasing her room in Huntington Beach. There's 2 rooms. And I was like, let's do it. I have this much cash. I'll have this much cash left over. I'll take this much with me. It'll work out great. So I parked my car in Oakland, California at my friend's house, unloaded my car so all my things didn't get stolen, and left the next day and went to Korea. I was in Korea for 2 weeks. I was in Indonesia for about 8 days, and then I was in Australia for 8 days, and then I was in Hawaii for 2 weeks. And then I came back, got my stuff from Oakland, and then drove down, slept for 2 hours on the couch, I remember, and I drove down to Huntington Beach, to my new house, and it was so badass. Sorry, did I say that?
No, you're good.
It was awesome.
You're good.
And it was an older beach house on 2 lots, and 4 blocks from the beach, and I thought, this is it.
So let's go back real quick. What I've noticed is talking to people who stay in other countries, it's a bit of a culture shock, especially coming from, the Western civilization that is the United States. What were some of the things that you learned? Because you're young at the time going into it. And biggest takeaways from those trips?
I probably won't do it alone again if I went. Safety was a big thing that I didn't think of at the time. I'd been out, in Charlotte all hours of the night. And so I didn't think of that when I was going to be a safety issue. But I don't know. That was one big thing. Just more so to watch my back. I got some money stolen. And so, just watching my back more, doing things more cautiously. Yeah. That we are such a small piece of the pie. We really are. There's these families, they're exactly like we are, but they're just in a different place. And you can't grasp that until you're out there. I lived with a family that didn't speak English for a week when I was in Korea. They had a red pepper farm. I did this program called Wolfing, Worldwide Opportunities on Organic Farms.
Oh, my goodness.
I actually did that when I was 24. I lived in Hawaii for 3 months. I guess I skipped that part. So I lived on a farm when I was in Korea for a week with this family. They took me to do all the cultural things. We went to a concert. I helped them in the fields. We went to a university to a farming class. It was really cool.
Isn't it just so cool? I think my favorite, and I haven't really traveled much, but I've met a lot of people from different cultures, and I've got to experience that culture. Isn't it so fascinating how there's so many different cultures and they all have their own things that they do, their own foods, their own ways of living life. So you must have experienced. You're talking multiple places that you've been. How cool was that to experience?
It was awesome. Even in Korea, I was in 3 different cities, 3 different ways to do things. And I was a rare find in the small village that I was in because I've, brown hair, blue eyes, and they're like, "What are you doing here?" Why is she? No, they don't. The kids hadn't seen Americans before, and so it was awesome. But then the different how you become much more grateful when you're in places like Indonesia. I was in a really impoverished area, and you see people and they're chilling. They look super happy, and they don't have much. You know what I mean? So it just kind of gave me the chills thinking how different we are, and we want, and they're happy with they're straight up their dirt floor house. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I had a buddy on the podcast. He was a professional basketball player, and he's talking about these kids selling candies on the side of the street in these European countries, and they're doing that to make more money for their family, even though their parents both work.
Yeah.
So it's how grateful you become of life when you see a situation like that, knowing that at that age we had a roof over our head and we were safe and we didn't have to do all this crazy stuff. So it's definitely cool to see the pros and cons of culture. So anyway, you were in your story, you went to Hawaii, then you go to Oakland, and then you're driving down now to Huntington Beach. What's going through your mind? I feel in this point, you've been so adaptable with all these cultures. Now you're back, you're what's the plan going into moving to California? You're there. What's the plan in your head?
So I was well, I'm in California. What do I know how to do? I know how to bartend. So how hard can it be to get a bartending gig in Huntington Beach? So I got a job within a week or so. It actually ended up was at a country bar, so I fit in pretty well there. You're
number one bartender over here.
So, but I knew I wanted to branch out into something else. I knew this was before recreational cannabis became legal in California. So there was a niche, it wasn't everywhere. And I was I want to get in this business. I'm a female. I'm from the East Coast. There's nobody like me here. And so every single person that sat at my bar asked me, why are you here? Because they knew I wasn't from California. And I'd say, I wanted to change. You know, do you know anybody that works in the cannabis industry I could get hooked up with?
Yeah.
And I asked every single person that. And I met a guy who had a startup, so I didn't want to work like with the plants. I wanted to work on the like admin side of it. Like that, okay, business side of it, not like the farming side of it, because I farmed enough. So I became the admin assistant. I randomly met this dude who came into the bar, and I was talking to him and then his brother, and then he was like, I need an assistant. And I was like, I can be your assistant. And like, I'm the best ever, and I'm very organized, and you know, I think I would be awesome at this job. And
were you actually though, or were you just saying anything to get that opportunity?
I was saying anything I could. Because I mean, if I suck, then he won't hire me, and then I'll just go do something else. Like, you know.
I feel like a moral of all the stories you've told so far has been adaptability.
Yeah.
Like taking your surroundings and taking an opportunity and just molding to whatever that opportunity is.
Yeah. I remember that guy. He was like, his name's Rob. I still look up to him today. He became like a brother to me. He was like, just bring your Mac. You have a Mac, right? Like a Mac computer. I was like, I sure do.
You did not.
I didn't have any computer. I never even had a laptop. I went to Craigslist. I found a Mac that day. Paid $500 for it. Never used one before. I didn't know how to use it. I just figured it out. You just figure it out, you know. And so I started doing the social media pages. We actually had an app for growers, which organized the growers, their rooms, and the nutrient count and the humidity, temperature, all that good stuff for each room.
Yeah.
So I did the admin for that, and it was awesome until it wasn't. California became much more important to me than I thought it ever would. I ended up hanging out with an ex-boyfriend out there, and he was, like I said before, I was into drinking and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Well, he actually, he had what I thought was a drinking problem. Not thinking that I had a drinking problem. And I was like, you seriously like drink way too much. You need to go to rehab. And I think a lot of times we like project that onto people.
For sure, yeah.
So I ended up, you know, parting ways with him because I was like, this is too crazy for me. I can't do this.
Yeah.
It's just a lot. But by doing that, I was able to reflect on self and getting all the other energies out of the way. And my boss said to me one day, Rob, he goes, I think you drink too much. And I was like, no, that's not why I'm sad. Like, I was just not in a good place. I was lonely.
Yeah.
I was away from home. I hadn't made any friends out there. I was working 9 to 5, working from home or in his office, just being him. So I didn't have any community or anything like that.
Yeah.
And then ex-boyfriend came back around again. And he was still on a level, so we parted ways again. Well, next thing I knew, he called me. I hadn't heard from him in a few months, and he was like, I'm in rehab right now, and, you know, I'm like 60 days clean. And I was like, wait a minute. I was like, if he can get sober, why can I not get sober? Like,
was it like that big of a problem? You just didn't realize that, so it was a really big part of your life.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't drink during the daytime, but in the evenings, I mean, I lived with 3 other roommates, and some of them bartended and some of them didn't. And like, it gets harder to tolerate alcohol the older you get.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, and I wasn't being productive like as I wanted to. I'd been here in California for a year and a half, and I had accomplished nothing. So I got a dog named Tula, who I think saved me. But yeah, after I found out that, I tried, you know, to not drink for like 30 days, and I was like, there must be, like, I feel really, really good. There must be something to this, because I drink at least 5 nights out of the week, like, and not just a few drinks. Like, I was getting pretty drunk,
yeah,
and you know, blacking out sometimes, just not normalized drinking, not normal. Oh, for sure. Yeah, after I knew that he was sober, I was determined to, like, out-sober him, I guess.
like, why automatically just turned into a competition?
It was like, I don't know what it was. And we're both Virgos, so we really butt heads, hence why we're not together. But once, he got out of rehab. Like, we came back together again, and within like 2 weeks, he had already started drinking again. And I was like, what? I'm so confused. Like, how does this work? I didn't know anything about sobriety, recovery, nothing. And so I was like, I feel like you should go to an AA meeting. Like, isn't that what sober people do?
Yeah.
Or that you're trying to get help or whatever. And so I went with him. And something struck me on the head that day and was like, you're meant to be here for a reason. And it was like a senior citizen meeting that I went to because I didn't know where to go. I was just like, boom, this is 11 o'clock, we're going. Everyone in there was like 60, 70, 80 years old. And I'm like, that was good for me because they had time.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone in there was 20, 30, 40 years. And I was like, what? That's crazy. That means that you got sober about the same time I did.
Yeah.
Huh. There must be something to this. These people are saying they're living the life of their wildest dreams.
Yeah. And you really don't realize how many people it affects because it's really kind of like, I mean, not to say it's a gateway, but like it's easily accessible, right? Like, it's easy to go out and drink, spend a couple bucks here, spend a couple bucks there, or heck, go get a whole bottle. You know what I mean? And it starts with one drink, ends with 10, right?
Yeah.
So it's definitely something that's easy to do, especially if you have the time, like you did, working 9 to 5, and the money to be able to go do it. So it affects a lot of people.
Yeah, it definitely. I mean, I have experienced. My dad was an alcoholic, so I experienced that in my family. But you either do what your parents do, or you learn not to do that. And I was like, I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna be a cool 18-year-old and have a drink with my dad. You know what I mean? So like, it didn't faze me then. But no one tells you when you're even. I don't even remember learning that alcohol is addictive. Like, I don't remember learning that, and people don't grasp that it is an addictive substance. Like you once you start, sometimes you can't stop. It depends on how your brain is wired.
100%.
So my last drink was on June 10th, 2018.
Hold on.
Thank you.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
About a month later, I found out I was pregnant.
Whoa.
And I was like, oh snap. I wasn't planning that one. Well, I guess I should go talk to somebody about this. Who do you talk to? Well, I had met a few ladies in AA because I had continued to go because I picked up.
So you didn't stop. You went to that first meeting, and you continued.
Yeah, because it was like magic.
It was like
I was like, oh my God, these people get it. They're like me. Yeah. I knew no one like that ever. Wow. And so I'd met a few ladies because women stick with the women and men with the men.
100%.
And I like confided in one of the ladies, and she started doing this dance, and I was like, no dancing. Like I'm like crying over here. She's like, this is a miracle. Like, this baby's gonna save your life. And I was like, I guess, whatever. Like, what do I do? And so I decided, I was like, I can't stay here. Like, I can't stay with him. He's not in the same headspace I am. Yeah. So
And it would have been different if you guys were both sober. Yeah. And this was something you guys wanted, and you guys were actually together. But he tried it. It didn't work. But you were sticking to it. Yeah. And you wanted to make it work.
Because I really thought I would, if I did anything else, I would regret that decision more than anything in the whole world. Yeah. And I was like, this is the universe being like, get your together. You know what I'm saying? Sure. So I was like, well, we'll see what happens. So I was like, well, so my mom came out there. We packed my car and we headed back to North Carolina with me, my dog, my plants, because I got really into succulents when I was out there.
Which leads to the next part of the story, but. So you were in California. All this happened in roughly
2 years.
2 years?
I was in California for 2 years. Yep.
All of this happened in 2 years. Mm-hmm. Wow. So all that happens. You get pregnant. That leads you back
to North Carolina.
Okay, and then
to Alexander County.
Good old Alexander.
Second smallest county in North Carolina.
Is that?
Yep.
Is that a fact?
It's a fact.
The second smallest.
Mm-hmm. And there's 100 counties. Yeah.
Wow.
There's only one high school in Alexander County.
I did not know that. Mm-hmm. You learn something new every day.
Yep.
So coming back to North Carolina, obviously you have your kid. Mm-hmm. What's going through your head? Because at this point, you didn't have a plan, right?
No plan.
In California, it was kind of just like, we're going to make this work. We're going to figure it out. Mm-hmm. Now it's like, dang, I got to press that restart button. Now what's going through your mind?
So I got really in my hobby in California, where it was like succulents. They're like these little desert flower plants. They grow really well out there. So I was obsessed with them. And I even started a little brand called Life Doesn't Suck. And I made an Instagram for my plants. I was like, I mean, people were like, you selling these? And I was like, I sure am. And so in California, I would set up like all of our picnic tables and our outdoor patio furniture. I would take all the cushions off, and I would make a mini storefront in front of my beach house because people parked on the sides of the road. I would make like $100 on a Saturday just chilling, selling succulent arrangements. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to do this when I go back to North Carolina because no one knows what succulents are there.
Oh, for sure.
And there's no one selling plants there. So this is what we're going to do. So I nannied while I did the succulent thing, while I was pregnant. I had ours in April 8th of 2019.
No way. April 8th?
Yeah.
I'm April 7th.
Really?
Great. That's a great month to have a birthday.
She was born on her due date, which is like 2% of chance of that happening. So she's even extra special. But yeah, so when I had her, I took off like obviously for like about 3 months just so I could like mother and all those things. And then I was like, all right, it's time to make some money. We got to figure this out. I had saved up money from nannying, and it was trying to make some more money. So I started getting into like house plants as well. Yeah. And this salon had said, they found me on Instagram. They're like, we want you to do like plant design in our salon. Do you do that? And I was like, sure, I do. And so.
Okay, hold on. We got some questions to ask. It seems a lot of this story is you just say yes, even if you don't know how to do it.
Yep. Figure it out. That's what Google's for.
Is this like what's going through your mind in these situations though?
Yeah.
Like, hey, do you do this? Your brain just automatically says yes, it will figure it out or will fail. Is that genuinely how you're thinking?
Yeah, because I mean, what's the worst could happen? It doesn't work out. You can always do something else. Something will come to you. I feel like people come into your life just for no reason. Like they have some sort of meaning there. And I'm still friends with the girl who I did the plant design for. We ended up doing like a Reiki healing classes together. Like everything just unfolds into other chapters and other like cool areas in your life that you never know are going to be there. I still get my hair done there. You know, I met a lot of people there. Actually, she's the one she encouraged me to open a plant shop. They had hosted me for Small Business Saturday, and I was drinking out of this coffee mug when I was there. And I sold a bunch of stuff. I was meeting people, and I knew the artist of the coffee mug I was drinking. And I was like, I wonder what she's up to. I go outside, boom, there she is selling her art. And I was like, holy crap, nice to see you. And she had rented a space. This is on Union Square in downtown Hickory. Yeah. She rented a space, and I was like, ooh, that sounds good. I bet I could afford something. So, because her space was like a little studio. And I was like, I could put grow lights in here, and this is where I could pot my plants because it was getting cold. I was potting outside on a tarp on the porch. So, in between feeding the baby every 3 hours and trying to eat myself. So, I found the landlord that day. She had on red shoes, and I was like, power shoes. I'm going to go talk to this woman. And I was like, I have a plant shop idea, and I want to open something. Like, do you have any rooms available or any stores? She goes, yes, I have something. And she takes me there, and I was like, well, this has windows. Like, I don't want like a real store. I want people to like come pick up stuff from me. Yeah. And she was like, but don't you want to be open? And I was like, no. I'll just do by appointment only, whatever. It was very affordable. So this was December 2019. I opened the plant shop on Valentine's Day. We had a theme called Love Doesn't Suck. And
I love this. I love this so much.
So, this was February 2020. So, yeah. A month later, April had to close her plant shop. And I was like, oh, what are we going to do now? Pivot. So, I took every single one of my plants to my 500 square foot home that I had just started renting with my daughter, just me and her. So I took on a rental lease for a shop, and I took on a rental lease from a home for me and my daughter.
And you were doing that well to be able to, like, the plant, like
Yeah.
the plant business was that.
Yeah.
I know nothing about plants. So,
Yeah,
so
it was
don't mind
a
me.
great turnaround. Like
Wow.
it was, and it was, cash at the time, and so I had saved, and I was like, you know what? And the lady told me, she goes, you know what? Don't work out in 3 months. Just let me know. I'll work with you. And I was like, okay, that gives me hope that she's a good person. So I closed the shop down. I sold Easter was coming up, and then Mother's Day, and I was like, all right, people need plants. So I created a front porch pickup station at my house, and then I did deliveries on Fridays. And so and it was insanely busy because people were like, save the plant shop. And so June came around, and I just reopened. I was like, wear your mask, put on your hand sanitizer, and let's do this thing.
Hold up. I thought this was going a completely different direction. You didn't close.
I closed for like 3 months.
No, I mean, like, you didn't, like, just
Oh,
completely, like,
no,
you
no,
didn't,
no,
like,
no.
I'm done doing
Yeah.
this is not happening.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
waited it out, and then that's most people in that situation
Yep.
would give up.
No, I even built a greenhouse in that 3 months. Me and my brother, our neighbor had just burned down a trailer, and there was all these like the outside, but all the good wood was still there. So we took all that wood, got some plastic, and me and him built a greenhouse in my backyard, so I could keep my plants out there with the fans and everything.
Is there, like, a bone in your body that when something happens, you can't just pivot? Like, how does that work? Because I feel like for someone watching this,
Yeah.
like, I feel like there's a lot of people out there
Yeah.
who, when something happens, it's like, well, that's it.
Yeah.
How did you wire your brain to be like, oh, well, something happened. Let's you know what? Let's just pivot. Let's do this, and it'll work out. Like, what? How did that come about?
My dad always said, honey, just do the best you can. That's all that matters. And so in my brain, I'm like, well, I'm going to do the best I can at this. And if it's not meant to be, if it's not good enough, if it doesn't work out, then something will reveal itself to me as long as I stay sober. Like,
Yeah.
It always does. It's how it just works. Like, you're on like a different level when you make that decision for yourself, and it just keeps getting better and better, which it's crazy. But yeah, I just do the absolute best I can at that thing. Like, I don't half-ass anything at all. I don't see the point in doing something if you're just going to do it halfway. That's where the influencer part came into, along with real estate, because I was like, I could be doing two things right now, and I could be meeting people through this outlet that might want to buy houses, and then I could meet people through real estate that might be able to relate to my life, so it like goes hand in hand. But yeah, just doing the best you can.
That's because I think for again, I know for me specifically, like, if something happens, it's like, and you think about it, you figure it out. But like for you, it kind of seems like the first thought is automatically a pivot, where in most cases, like even for me specifically, I don't like speaking for other people, but like I'm like, and then like I have to think about it a little bit. But the minute something happens, from the stories you're telling, it seems like the minute something bad happens, quote unquote bad, it automatically, it's like it's second nature to you.
Yeah.
And I think as a business owner now, as you've been the past couple of years, that is so invaluable because life is life, right? Like, the market's going to be up, the market's going to be down, things happen over time. To be able to pivot and just stop on a dime and be like, well, actually, we're going to do this. It's got to make you 10 times more successful in business. Yeah. Because I feel like most people, like I said, you get a roadblock and it's like, oh, crap. But you're just like, just go around it.
Yeah. When I started seeing inflation hit, plant prices go up, and business slow down because people have to pay X amount of dollars for ketchup and chips. They don't have that money. They don't have those COVID incentives coming at them anymore either.
Yeah.
When you get money like that, you're like, plants! And like people, I mean, would be like, I'm like, I know y'all got your COVID check. Y'all coming to Life Doesn't Suck. But as soon as I saw that slow down, and I got a kid, right? I'm like, something's got to give. Something's got to change. And my Meemaw, which is actually my daughter's great grandmother on her bio father's side, she's mine now. She's my mom now. She was a realtor for 40 years. And she was
Holy
like,
crap.
April, I really think you'd be good at this. Like, I just, I'm not sure there's a real retirement plan with a plant shop, and that made me think, well, not only that, but I was getting bored. Like, you can only create so many terrarium classes. The hours were just so monotonous. If my employee couldn't be there, I had to be there. If I wasn't there, then people were like, where are you? You don't make money. And like, I needed more freedom.
No, for sure.
I wouldn't have been able to do field day today with my child if I would have been stuck in a store.
Yeah.
So
when real quick, when did that conversation happen with her?
It was like April of 2023.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So this is all happening fairly recently, the real estate. So what happens with the plant shop, and how did you end up taking that leap into real estate?
So I thought, okay, I'll do both.
Right to the pivot. Just, you know what? Just add something else there. I'll figure it out.
And my partner, my boyfriend Justin, he was like, I know in my heart you're going to be really good at real estate because your personality. I don't think you should do both. And like, until you get going with real estate, I got you. And I was like, as long as you got me, because I get real scared with money. Like, because
sure.
you got a kid, you got to make sure somebody's got you.
Yeah.
So for me to transition I closed the plant shop October 15th. Well, so I took my real estate course. That night after that conversation with me, Ma, in April, I went and signed up for the class.
Oh, so this wasn't like you sat on it, you thought about it, you
No.
waited. It was literally like,
I was like,
well, real estate license.
Yeah.
And you
I
took
was
the
like, man,
class.
she's got a point. I just got my tax money back. Boom, we're doing this. And I signed up for a live stream class. It was 6 weeks long. They're Superior Real Estate. They're a great company. So
you didn't do it like the typical way. You did it like the old, because I know I had a buddy who got in real estate, and he went and worked with a broker, and they helped him get his stuff, and then now he's a listing agent. So you did it kind of like a different way.
Yeah, I just I found the first online course that had really good reviews, and I was like, well, let's do it. And I did not want to do a self-paced course. Like, that was my number one thing. I will not do a self-paced course because I won't finish it. I need some guidance. I need a time and a place to be there.
So it was an in-person physical class?
No, but it was online.
Oh, but you
live
had,
stream.
But you had
and
somebody.
if your face, like, they had to have to see your whole face. Like, you can't just skip out on it. You know what I mean? Like, there's proctors. There's only so many people in the class. Like, and so I ended up, I didn't pass the test the first time. I missed it by a sliver of a point. And to pass the class, to get the state test, you had to pass the class test. And I was like, come on. So I got to take it like 2 weeks later, and I passed.
Well, let me ask real quick, before you retest.
Yeah.
Or before you retested, was there a doubt in your mind? Did you ever think, man, if I fail this one, like, was that like the end of it? Or were you kind of just like, I have to pass this, and that was all you were focused on?
I knew I was gonna pass.
That's
like,
awesome.
I had to pass. There was no option not to pass.
Yeah.
And I found like studying affirmations, pass a test affirmations on Spotify, and I'm like sitting here, you will pass the test. You are the smartest person in the world. Like, and it worked. I swear it worked. Like, I mean, because I passed. I'm like, I'm a doer. I'm a learn as you do person. I'm not a multiple choice person test. So,
but I feel like even in real estate, you learn 10 times more in the field doing the stuff than you would ever learn in a classroom.
Yeah, the classroom you learn the laws.
Yeah. And
it would be really super nice if they would say, hey, you're required to have X amount of hours following a broker.
Yeah.
They don't do that. They just send you out there, Wild Wild West, and it's very interesting the different views people have of realtors, like, especially being a younger female in this industry is very interesting.
Because I feel like same with real estate agents, you definitely have like, everyone has that car salesman story, right? There's a good one, there's a bad one, right? And it makes you go, man, I never want to go back, right?
Yeah.
And with houses, it's so unique. I have a real estate buddy, and I think he says the average the average time for someone to buy a house is like 7+ years, which is a lot of time. So you don't have that recurring customer as where like a car salesman, you could have a car, have it for 6 months, bring it back, trade up for the newest next shiny model, right? You don't do that with houses. Nope. A typical average person does not do that with houses. Did that scare you at all, knowing that you have to go out and get brand new clients every time because the likelihood of a reoccurring client is not as strong as in like the plant in business, right?
Yeah.
You maybe somebody gets a new house, maybe someone, hey, I want to try some new plants or put some new plants out, or the seasonal stuff comes about. You're always having that reoccurring client where now it's just like you have to go figure it out.
Start fresh.
Did that scare you at all?
I thought to myself, if so-and-so can do it, why can I not do it? They're successful. They make X amount of dollars. I can see their volume on the MLS. Why can I not do that?
Yeah.
Like, why not? What's stopping me? Learn. Let's go. Let's grow. And so I was like, what am I good at? Social media. That's how Life Doesn't Suck boomed. So I switched that name over to At Home with April. Lost probably about 400 followers because they were like, what is this real estate lady doing on my plant page?
Hold on, she was just talking about plants. Now she wants to sell me a home?
But
unfollow.
I mean, all my local people were on there and they didn't unfollow. Yeah. So that was good because then I got to narrow down to my niche and now it's growing. I hired a social media marketing manager, I guess you could say, almost, I don't know, about six months into doing it when I could I knew I was going to have a closing and I was like, okay. And I hate to say that you're going to have a closing because you never know if it's actually going to close or not. But
there was a level of certainty where you felt comfortable enough. Let's use this money that I'm going to make and invest in the thing that's going to drive more customers.
Yeah. And, what you put in, you get out. You got to spend money to make money.
100%.
And
is that not scary coming from the world where, you talk as a bartender, let's go back, you're like, I'm going to save this much. I need this much.
Yeah. We're
going to save this much, put this much to the side so when I do come back from that trip, I have money to live on. It seems like throughout your life, you've kind of always had a blueprint. I'm going to make X amount of money to spend X amount, but still have some left over. So in real estate, did that scare you at all? Where it's like, you're trying to plan stuff, and then when something finally happens, like a closing, you're like, cool, I can use this to spend here and also live on.
It is scary, but if stuff is not scary and challenging, then it's usually not worth it. It's just how it is. If it were easy, then everybody'd be doing it.
We'd have 1,500 real estate agents.
If it was unscary, then everybody would be doing it, And, I mean, a lot of people have talked to me like, I want to do this, And I say, well, you better put your patient pants on, and you better learn how to talk to people, and you better learn how to listen. Because that's one of the biggest things I've learned at this job is to listen. Because I am a talker. And so, when I take somebody in the house, it's quiet because they need to think. They need to look. They don't need me to look for them and point things out. But as soon as I got my first listing, it was like the universe was like, okay, boom, here's you another one. So I had 2 listings in the beginning. One was just a little lot of land. I was so proud. I'm still proud of that lot of land. I'm proud of any listing I have because it's like,
yours.
What an honor for someone to trust you that much to sell their property. There's a lot of emotions in property. Like somebody's grandma might have owned it and this and that and the other. So way more emotions than honestly bartending. You see a lot of crazy stuff and people get real emotional. This is completely different because you get really intertwined into their personal life because you want to know why they're moving here or why are they moving there. When you spend that much time with somebody, it's almost so sad when the transaction closes because you're like, oh, we talked almost every day,
Yeah.
But I still send out cards and all my stuff to keep up with my clients and everything. So
that's awesome. And you did talk about being a woman in real estate.
Yeah.
Because it is. I mean, from what I can tell and the people I've met, it is a very male dominant field. Was that something that you ever thought about, or is it kind of just like they're doing it?
Yeah,
I can do it. Did that ever cross your mind?
Yeah, I've always thought to myself, if a dude can do it, I can do it 10 times better.
1,000% for any lady watching us.
So that part didn't scare me. I hate the stereotype of, oh, you're just pretty, so you sell houses.
People actually have said that to
I
you?
literally had a client tell me, well, the first reason I actually hired you is because you're attractive. I mean, and then the second, like, you seemed like you had a lot of followers. And I was just like, well, first off, we are no longer working together. And
second off,
so, yeah. But, I mean, that wasn't the first time someone had kind of said something like that to me. Because I've been, putting myself more out there on social media. So you see we have a lot more followers. And you're just not taken as seriously, like, at all. Like, I don't know how to do comps. Like, oh, I bought a house in 1995. And I'm like, dude, I was only 9 then, first off. And second off, like, it's a lot different now. 2024 was the slowest year of house sales since 1995. No joke. Wow. People say that, I started in 2008. That's when it was bad. No. It's not like this is when it's not good. This is when actually a lot of realtors have dropped out because it is slow. And I like to call those bartender realtors that just do 2 houses a year or something. And so now that some laws have changed and you have to make yourself valuable as a buyer agent, a lot of people have left. And my business has been pretty steady. I just learned a big lesson with a client, and I have a tendency to go above and beyond. Not to the point where I'm walked over, but just stepped on a little bit sometimes. Yeah. Not all the way walking, but just beep. And so I learned a lesson to really set more boundaries and just show my worth better and get paid differently, because I put a lot of time and effort to this last house and things didn't end up working out. Yeah. And it was like 2.5 months of grueling work. And not only that, physical work, but the support to the person I had to give on top of everything you have to do when you go under contract with a house, and you're also listing a house at the same time. So I learned a lot through that, and I'm ready for summer season. Houses are popping up left and right.
I think that for me is the part of being a real estate agent I could never understand. Right, like you're building these relationships, you're investing time, which is super valuable, more than money, right? And time into these relationships. Like you were just telling me about this older couple that is coming to move out off the podcast. Like that time spent is something you can't get back. Exactly. Right, you go above and beyond for a client, and all of a sudden they're like, sorry. Like that's the part for me where. And it probably doesn't happen as often, but when you do get it, it's probably definitely like demoralizing, because like as a real estate agent, if I was one, I don't know if I could like how I would react if someone I just spent hundreds of hours and we went and saw 55 houses. Like we spent all this time together and we're figuring out the right place for you, and just for you to be like, sorry. I don't know if I could do that. Like that for me, that anxiety would be like, I think I'm done. Yeah. Like, how do you weather that? Like, how do you think about stuff like that?
Those people are few and far between. They really are. You, like I said, you meet certain people for a certain reason, and you also you meet people, and you're like, oh, this is the client I don't want to work with, actually. So once you find that, you're like, the signs to look for in your next people, and I mean, I feel like we were getting ready to go into another part of the transaction in this deal, and it would have been a lot. And I think the universe was like, you've taken enough BS. I'm going to get this person out of your life. Yeah. And am I still going to get paid? We'll see. Meemaw said I would. So we'll see.
If Meemaw said it, it's going to happen.
Exactly. So, I mean, I have faith, but I learned a lot about it. I learned a lot about people's personalities, And I really did. And it's at the end of the day, it's not my fault. It's nothing I did wrong. Like, I did all the right things, but you can't control how people react to stuff.
It's so funny. What I've learned in business is like similar to dating, there's a professional relationship, a business relationship. And it's funny that like same in dating, you look for red flags, you look for green flags, right? It's so funny how they parallel.
Yeah.
And it's like, and I don't know, I'm gonna ask you here in a second. I don't know how you get leads, but usually for me, it's like at networking events. So like I have an opportunity to have those icebreakers before actually, hey, let's do business together, right? For you, how do you get like a majority of your leads? I know you talked a little bit about social media. What else do you do?
So, I'm really heavy into social media, always saying hey and doing videos when I go to my showings and stuff like that. But I've found at a lot of Hickory networking groups, there's not regular people. It's all business people, and there's already a few realtors there. Yeah. And the business people really know who their realtor is going to be if they ever need it. Because there's already been, sometimes realtors host those things, I find my leads at children's birthday parties, at field day, at workshops, like going like pop-ups, like workout workshops and yoga workshops and stuff like that. There's a ladies meetup club that I've been meaning to go to, and it's just like women meeting up. It's not like a business thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah. My daughter, she hands out my business cards to her teachers.
Listen, if you got a kid, okay, best salesperson ever.
At drive-thrus. Right? She'll stick her little arm out the window at a drive-thru and be like, I'm my mom's assistant, buy a house from her.
Kids are the best because they have no fear. They don't care at all.
Yeah.
Hey, you need a house? My mom does that. My mom's a realtor.
But going to like social events like that, like that's how I meet people. And then meeting like vendors and painters and all these people that help you do things on certain houses. Like they might know a realtor, but if y'all hit it off, they might tell their cousin that, hey, you're the best realtor, So through vendors is also how I meet folks.
Did you ever think that? And I feel like before you were a real estate agent, it was like, oh, we're just going to a birthday party. Oh, we're just going to a social event. Now all of a sudden it's like, do you always carry business cards on you? Because you never know.
It's always.
Do you have a crazy story? Like, what's your wildest like lead or customer or client potentially that you've gotten at the most random function?
The very first client, I listed his house. I was going to go to the birthday party, and then I was like not sure if I was going to go. And then my friend had mentioned, hey, my dad might want to sell his house. And I was like, I didn't think much of it. I was like, okay, cool. And so I got there and I was like, you know what? I'm being way too nonchalant about this. I want to find out where this man's at. And I'm going to go strike up a conversation with him. So I said, Lena, where's your dad at? And she pointed to him. I said, thanks. So I walked over to him and I was like, hello, Mr. Barr. I'm April Tyner. I think Lena told you about me and that I'm a realtor. He goes, yep, I want to sell my house. And I was like, so, all right, that sounds great. So you want me to sell it? He goes, yep. And I was like, okay. Well, you want me to come over and look at it? Yep, that's fine. Next week's good. And I was like, this can't be this easy.
Am I doing something wrong?
And sure enough, I got it listed. I got it all cleaned out. I had never, you never listed anything before, but I saw how houses were supposed to look. And this house was built in 1955. It had never been updated since 1972. So we still had shed carpet going on and lots of wallpaper, which I thought was cute wallpaper, but most people didn't like floral wallpaper. And so I listed it, and it was a tough sale because it was, really slow.
Yeah.
And it was an older house, and it was definitely a fixer-upper. So our first time we went under contract, that ended up not working out because it is an older home, and they found some issues, and I wasn't willing to let my client sell his house for that little. Like, no, dude, like you deserve more than that.
Yeah.
And I know what my clients want to net, and so I'm going to make that happen for them.
For sure.
And so we went under contract with another couple, and their agent was out of Raleigh, and the agent on the other side, that matters so much, how you like jive with that agent. And he was awesome.
Yeah.
Ronald, I still remember his name.
Shout out Ronald.
Yeah. And so ended up selling that first house, and then a house down the road saw my sign, and the lady called me and she goes, well, if you can sell that house, there's no reason you can't sell my mom's house. And I was like, that's
Done.
right, that part. So
So literally business, just you do one thing, it leads to another, it leads to another. Like that's, how does that, like, it's so funny how real estate is like this culmination of everything that has happened so far in your life. Isn't that like real estate's kind of like a full circle moment, because in real estate you have to pivot. And I mean, you're excellent at, if there's anything we've learned in this podcast, you're a phenomenal at pivoting, patience, and being able to just be so fluid in whatever's going on. Do you think that, or do you feel that real estate is this full circle moment for you specifically?
Oh yeah, 100%. It's been a ride, that's for sure. I've learned I can't take anything personal. Like
Business.
I never knew that rule before, because at my plant shop, it's my plant shop. If you don't like my plants, get out. You know, like
There's the door.
but like, so if people didn't like something in there, I took it personal. But with this, I can't take it personal. Like if someone doesn't like a house that I picked out for them, okay. And people are like, well, I'm sorry, I just don't like it. Don't tell me sorry. I'm glad you're telling me and being honest with me. Like this is an honest, 100% transparent relationship. You know, and I need to know everything. So a lot of times when I don't even know the buyer and we just start a conversation, I'll shoot them off every like type of house I can think of. Like wood floors, carpet, open space, closed floor plan. And then I'll say, tell me 5 things you like and tell me 5 things you don't like. And those 5 things really get me into like the little niche where they want to be.
Yeah.
And there's sometimes most of the time you can have it all. And sometimes, if it's not a built-in oven, sometimes you can pivot with that.
Compromise.
Yeah. So, but if you didn't know how to pivot in real estate and you weren't like a fluid person, you would hate this job. Because you have to always be thinking of different ways to make the deal work.
That's awesome.
And I learned that from the owner of my firm. I'm at Remax Legendary, by the way.
I'd ask a couple questions here. How did that relationship come about? Because Remax is a very well-known brand.
So, my boyfriend, he works at Excella Pharmaceuticals in Lenore. His friend that works there he's actually friends with the couple that owns my firm.
Wow.
And he said, Your girlfriend April really sounds like this realtor I know, Amanda Stokes. I feel like she would get along really well with them and work well with them. And I was like, well, where's she at? And they said Remax Legendary. Well, I just went online and I just filled out new agent form for Remax in general. I didn't know, it didn't go to a specific one. Next thing I know, Amanda's calling me like 3 days later. And she was like, we want to interview you. Like we saw your thing, da 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 da.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. Well, I need to get 2 other places because I don't want to just pick the first one.
Yeah.
So I interviewed with 2 other places, and they did not give me the vibes that this office did. And I could tell that these people were a step above. They were the professional look that I was going for.
Yeah.
And they did crazy volume, and they're really good at what they do. And if I have someone sitting here telling me, call me when you have questions, text me when you have questions, the broker in charge and the owner, that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
When they actually call you back.
Yeah, it was more of a relationship than just like a transaction, right?
And apparently they had sold several of Justin's friends at work his house. And so it just all came together. And I've been there. They hired me actually without even, so when you first get your real estate license, you're a provisional broker. And you have to take 3 more classes to get your full broker license. And you can still practice as a provisional broker. You just have to basically have someone holding your hand. So they were like, we don't hold hands here.
Yeah.
So you need to we don't hire provisional brokers here. And I said, I'll lose the provisional part in a month, I swear. And so I went online that night and I found 3 classes that were going to all together in January. And I took all 3 of those classes at the same time. I was very confused, but I passed all of them. And I was like, I'm not a PB anymore. I can go. And then that was at the end of January. And then April's when I forgot my first listing. So, I mean, the owners were like, you're doing awesome. Like, as you're brand new. Like, once you get the end of year 2, really good into year 3, that's when most agents start soaring. And you're already, like, there. And I don't know. It's just, I feel like I'm in a lull right now, but I think I've learned my lesson because I didn't focus on my business because I was so focused on one client. But now I can focus on my buyers, my people coming in from Colorado, and I have 2 other buyers that I'm working with right now. So whatever happenings in my life right now is meant to be. And I don't know, it just always works out. As I always say, if you stay clean, it's always going to work out for you, first off. And then second off, you have to just keep showing up. Because if you don't show up, nothing's going to happen.
100%. Biggest regret. Do you have any regrets in your life up to this point?
No, I really don't. Because it has been drilled into my mind, we will not regret the past nor shut the door on it. And that is straight from the book of AA. And ever since that quote came into my life, because all those decisions I made led me to where I am. So who's to say? I always used to say, I wish I would have gotten sober sooner. Well, then you wouldn't have been on this path. You might have got a nursing job that you hated. You know what I mean? So I don't, because I live by that. So.
And then what has so far been the biggest lesson that you've learned in business, right? You go from owning the plant shop to now being a real estate agent.
Mm-hmm.
In this time of business, what's the biggest life lesson that you've learned?
Being 100% true to yourself, and the people will come. Like, they will, as long as you're not trying to mask and be this fake person, and you show up genuine, ready to work, people see that. And then the people that don't see that, you're not meant to be with them. No matter if it's in the plant shop, no matter if it's doing real estate. Because I call money appreciation coupons. So I don't want to give somebody my appreciation coupons unless I appreciate them and they're doing something for me.
Yeah.
So I always like to think about that. These people are paying me to do a job.
100%.
That means they appreciate me. So I made to make sure that is known, that I appreciate them back. There's a mutual level of respect.
Yeah.
I guess if that kind of makes sense.
No, 100%.
Okay.
The value that you're giving is the value that you're getting, right?
Yeah.
Or someone else is getting as far as being in real estate, or even back to the plant shop. It's like you want the value to exceed what they're getting. I mean,
even back to bartending. Like, I always won the contest. I always made the best tips because I was nice. I was genuine with people. I treated them like humans. Like, I wasn't like, what do you want to drink? Okay. Like, you knew my name as soon as I came to the table. Like, we're going to be besties by the time you leave. And that's how it was in my plant shop. Like, I met so many friends through there. People that became friends. And now that's how it is with real estate. People have become friends. I still keep in touch with them, My brother's an electrician. So then they get to meet my brother. Like, it's like a whole family affair.
It's so awesome.
Yeah.
I think it's so cool. I think your story for somebody watching is going to be so inspiring.
I hope so.
Because you can just, in life, regardless of what happens and what you go through, you can always genuinely pivot. There's also something out there, if you really love to do, there's an opportunity to make money in it, right?
Yeah.
For people who want to do business with you, how can they get in touch with you? How do they reach out to you? If you want to shout out your social media, all that stuff for them.
So my social media is At Home with April. I don't think there's another one, so it will be me on the profile picture. For a more personalized, I call it April Tyner, IRL in real life. You can follow April and the Fam. That's my other one. That's where I highlight stuff that I like, family things, and you get to see a glimpse of what it is in real life. And it's not always rainbows and butterflies. And there was a lot of tears. There's a lot of anxiety, all those things to get here. So,
what's the best piece of life advice? Doesn't have to be business, doesn't have to be personal. Could be a little bit of both, or you could just choose one. What is the best piece of life advice you give to someone watching this right now?
I say do it scared. Because you're going to be scared in starting anything new.
For sure.
So you just have to do it.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know how to bartend. I didn't know how to do social media, but I know I was scared to do it. But you just got to do it scared. That's number one.
And everything will work out. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks
I really
for
do
having
appreciate
me.
it. Make sure you go follow her on all social media. Everything will be in the description below. Also, one more time for our sponsor, Lake Hickory Pub and Marina, where lake and life meet. But most importantly, if you haven't, hit that subscribe button. And until next time, there's only one thing to do. That's lift love, crush hate. We out.